Hey guys, welcome back to T-Bone's Tender Moments. Remember to like, share, and comment. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Hey guys, welcome back. Uh, Today we're going to talk about a TV series, and I'm not going to focus on the entire series for this video. I want to talk about American Horror Story. Now, I know a lot of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you guys may have never watched any of it, but I actually want to kind of do just a short review on the last season that they had, which is the name of the season is 1984. Uh, Growing up in the 80s and into the 90s, that this series, I believe there was 9 episodes to this season, but this season really got nostalgic. It starts out in 1984, kind of runs in line Los Angeles, the Olympics. It has a very familiar feeling to it. Kind of without giving anything away, it kind of has a Jason Voorhees feeling to it. But a lot of cool backstories in this. Me and Regina have really enjoyed the entire series. We have seen every season, all the way from the very first season, which I think was Murder House. We've watched, of course, Cult, Apocalypse, Hotel, Roanoke, uh, Freak Show, but Asylum was all the seasons. But this season here, 1984, I actually got really excited for it before it actually made it. We watched it on Netflix. I actually got very excited about this season because, like I said, there's a lot of nostalgia in it. Of course, they deal with old aerobic studios. A lot of it based around what the culture was in the mid 1980s, all the way up through the first part of the 90s. Videotape, Firebirds, Camaros. It showed the change in the culture from the 70s to the 80s, what the 80s was kind of becoming, what it was being about. But guys, one thing I love about the American Horror Story series, the seasons, uh, the entire series, each season, is how broad and how arching that the storylines are. This storyline actually arches from, of course, the season's 1984, but this story actually arches from like the 1930s all the way up to 2020. It goes all the way to this year. And it's the thing that I have found about the American Horror Story series is that they can keep you interested because a lot of it is Bible stuff. Of course, a lot of it's, based off old legend. But this season really was a good season. I gotta say, I've enjoyed all the seasons, but 1984, I've actually watched it a couple different times on Netflix, and to be honest with you, I'm really impressed with this season. And like I said, there's a lot of nostalgia in it. There's a lot of and what you get from it is you get that there's a lot of the Friday the 13th vibe in it, but not that's not the storyline. But you kind of get back to that whole thing. It kind of all blends in because in our culture in the late 70s, it really a lot of people say that it started with the making of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which that changed the horror genre. But really, until Friday the 13th came along, you had just people being in a bad situation in a farmhouse. You really didn't get into the camp situation until Friday the 13th came along and really dove in depth. But there's a lot of twists and turns through the 9 episodes of this season. Man, there was a lot of twists and turns. which is another thing that American Horror Story is good at. Horror Story is good at, is giving you a lot of twists and turns in their storylines. And like I said, every season that we've seen so far has long arching storylines. I think Coven was one I missed earlier, but if you haven't watched any of the seasons, of course, I always suggest start with season one and just work your way through. But outside of 1984, Coven and probably Freak Show were my two favorite seasons. Uh, but of course, all the seasons are good. Asylum was good. We actually enjoyed Asylum. Hotel was okay. Hotel was a little bit different story. But you got to be a fan of the horror genre to really get the gist of what this show is about. And as a horror movie fan, I watched 1984. Like I said, I got excited about it before it ever even came out on DVD. But if you haven't checked it out, guys, it's American Horror Story 1984 is the season. My suggestion would be to start back at the beginning and work your way up to them, which all of the other seasons, all of the characters from the seasons kind of tied in. All of the storylines kind of tied in together in Apocalypse, which was the last season they made before this one. But if you haven't checked it out, I suggest checking it out. But you can get into 1984 without seeing any of the other seasons, because 1984 kind of starts like a fresh set of storylines, I believe. I'm not sure how many more seasons that American Horror Story is going to go. I know because of the coronavirus, it took them a while to get this season out. But you could start with 1984 and just go from there without seeing any of the other seasons. But if you start with Murder House, which was the first season, you're going to want to see all the other seasons because characters go from season to season. Not all the characters, but the storylines arch from that first season all the way up to Apocalypse. A lot of the characters that you fall in love with, and American Horror Story hits on a lot of the old ghost stories and legends from our country. I mean, they go back and touch back as far as Marie Laveau down in Louisiana, or I mean, they really cover a lot of ground. Twisty the Clown, Mr. Jingles. There's just a lot of good characters, a lot of fun characters. Uh, so if you haven't checked it out yet, check out American Horror Story 1984. Check out the other seasons too, and let me know if there's a certain season. Drop down comment. Let me know if there's a certain season of American Horror Story that you enjoyed, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on that season. Like I said, Hotel was probably the only season that was the story was good. I enjoyed it, but it was kind of out there a little bit. But if you're into history like I am, I could have actually made American Horror Story a T-Bone's historical moment video because it covers a lot of history. It covers a lot of stuff we grew up with in our culture, just stuff from our country, stuff that other people wouldn't understand. But if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Let me know what you think. Like this video, drop down, comment, share. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you have a YouTube channel. I know this video is a little shorter than my last ones, but guys, this has been another T-Bone's Tender Moment. Thanks for watching.